JBN, we keep you informed. Man who killed 11-year-old Jamaican girl in New Jersey sentenced. A New Jersey man who admitted to raping and killing his 11-year-old neighbor was sentenced to life in prison on Friday, 3 months after pleading guilty on the eve of his trial. 20-year-old Andreas Eraser will have to serve 85% of his sentence, or roughly 64 years, before being eligible for parole on the terms of his sentence. Andreas Eraser pleaded guilty to murder and aggravated sexual assault in February in the death of Abigail Smith in Keensburg, Monmouth County. Smith was reported missing on the eve of July 12, 2017. Investigators found her body the next morning, wrapped in a comforter on a roof near the apartment building where she and Eraser lived. Eraser initially claimed he fatally stabbed the girl because he thought she was an intruder. He later conceded that was false and confessed he raped and killed her. Abigail's father, Kenroy Smith, lives in Jamaica, where he was deported in 2001 after he was arrested for marijuana. He and Abigail's sister, Kenneth Smith, were denied temporary visas to attend the girl's funeral, despite Kenroy Smith's public plea to President Donald Trump. At the time, the State Department said it is prohibited by law from disclosing details about individual visa cases. PM issues strong warning to rogue cops linking with dons. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has warned that the time must come for rogue members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, friendly with area dons, to desist from such practice. Those who are in the force that chummy with them, hang out with them, give them special privileges, work for them, that must stop. That must stop. Because until their separation, then we won't be able to address masterminds behind the crimes, the Prime Minister warned. We have to separate the dons from their friends in the police force. The Prime Minister was speaking at the Jamaica Police Federation 76th Annual Conference at the Moon Palace Resort in St. Anne. Holness, who argued that dons, guns and gangs constitute the major crime challenges in the country, articulated the need to establish legislation to place dons on a watch list. There should be government policy crafted along with legislation to place dons on a watch list, where they know that we are watching them and that we can put control orders in place for them, Holness stated. The dons feel that, well, if they get caught, they just need to get a good lawyer, and if they get arrested, they may very well get off, and if they get a term in prison, they can probably still run their criminal enterprises from prison. Elderly woman's throat slashed in Ocharias. The St. Anne police are probing the murder of an elderly woman who was found with her throat slashed at her house in Old Buckfield, Ocharias in the parish on Friday night. The deceased woman has been identified as 72-year-old Doreen Coleso. Reports are that about 7:30 p.m., a relative found Coleso lying in a pool of blood and alerted the police. Upon their arrival, the body was seen with a wound to the neck. She was taken to the hospital where her death was confirmed. A motive for the killing has not yet been established. Government to build 5 new fire stations and carry out multi-million-dollar repairs to others. The government has announced plans to build 5 brand new fire stations as part of a major overhaul of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Minister of Local Government Desmond McKenzie, who made the announcement, said 2 stations will be constructed in St. James and 1 in Kingston, Yallas in St. Thomas, and Port Maria, St. Mary. McKenzie announced too that millions of dollars will be spent to carry out comprehensive repairs at several fire stations across the island. Already, he said, repairs to the Spanish Town Fire Station, which was started by local government minister in the last administration, Noel Harscott, is in the final phase of completion. McKenzie said the government plans to spend $53.7 million to renovate the Frankfield Fire Station in Clarendon, $10 million on the Falmouth Fire Station in Trelawney, and $10 million on the Negril Fire Station. In addition, he said everything is now in place for construction to begin on the long-anticipated Barnett Street Fire Station in Montego Bay, St. James. The symbolic groundbreaking, he said, is set for next Thursday. Finally, the people in Western Jamaica will have a brand new fire station, Mackenzie said during his contribution to the 2019-2020 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He noted also that the government has spent $167 million to purchase bunker gears and other equipment for firefighters. Never in the history of the Jamaica Fire Brigade have they gotten 500 bunker gears one time. It has never happened before. Murder convict sues the government for drawn-out case. A man was awarded damages and requested a $30 million payout from the government after he languished in jail for nearly 6 years while his case crawled through the court system, has been convicted on 2 counts of murder. Mervyn Cameron was on Friday found guilty of the brutal 2012 killing of Barrington Davis, then Deputy Chief of Security at Jamaica Post, and his female friend Patricia Lamont Barneswell. The unanimous verdict was handed down in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston. He is to be sentenced on June 28. Davis and Lamont Barneswell were kidnapped from his house in St. John's Heights, St. Catherine in August 2012. Their decomposed bodies were found with multiple gunshot wounds in a cane field in Innswood, also in St. Catherine. 7 months later, in August 2013, Cameron and another man, Christopher Wilson, were arrested and charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder, illegal possession of firearm, and robbery. They were apprehended by detectives from the St. Catherine Major Investigation Task Force, who were led to them by persons to whom they had sold Davis's car. The verdict follows a slew of legal challenges mounted by Cameron to prevent his case from going to trial. Court records show that after he was arrested and charged in March 2013, he was placed before the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court the following year for preliminary inquiry. The inquiry commenced but stalled in October 2016, the records show. As a result, Cameron, through his attorney Hugh Wildman, went to the Constitutional Court to have the case stayed on the grounds that his right to a fair trial within a reasonable time had been violated. The court, in a landmark 2-1 majority ruling handed down last year, found that his constitutional rights had been violated and awarded him damage, but ordered prosecutors to proceed with his trial swiftly. In arguments presented to the court when the case came up for assessment of damages, Cameron requested compensation of $30 million. Last September, the Constitutional Court put off making an award in the case pending the outcome of Cameron's murder trial. Unidentified man dies after being hit by a car. An unidentified man has died as a result of injuries he received when he was hit by a motor vehicle along Marcus Garvey Drive in Kingston 11 yesterday morning. The incident occurred shortly after 5:30 a.m. in the vicinity of the Rubis gas station. According to police reports, the driver of a Toyota Camry motor car was traveling along the roadway towards downtown Kingston when he reportedly hit a man who was crossing the road. The injured man was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police said the driver has been warned for prosecution. JUTC says it has uncovered deliberate attempts at sabotage. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, is reporting that it has uncovered what appears to be deliberate attempts to sabotage the operations of the state-run company. It said such attempts at sabotage may have been the cause of 2 of 3 recent fires on its buses. The extent of the sabotage that has been uncovered may have put passengers' life at risk, said the JUTC. According to the company, it has found some startling bit of information since it launched its probe into the fires 2 weeks ago, in the process unearthing what it has described as substandard workmanship, which may have caused 2 of the 3 fires. It appears that there are efforts to undermine the operations of the bus company, both internal and external. This includes attack on members of staff and its assets, said Managing Director of the JUTC, Paul Abrahams, in a statement. Abrahams said, during preventative fire checks these past 2 weekends, we have found instances of serious breaches, including but not limited to fuel line being too loose beside a turbo, and a rag that was used to tie a hydraulic line, among other displaced connections in the engine. These breaches can cause spontaneous combustion when in operation mode and may have prompted at least 2 of the 3 fires. We are taking a zero-tolerance approach to the recent fires and have warned personnel that there should be no recurrence. The managing director sought to assure that since the recent fires, greater focus has been placed on quality maintenance of all units, and a fire prevention team has since been formed. The main objective of this team is to ensure that all units are up to safety standards for the commuting public and that all procedures are adhered to, Abraham said. He said the fire team will report each week on the faults it has found and the corrective measures that have been taken. A fire prevention checklist has also been developed, and the staff has been given refresher fire prevention training in addition to the regular maintenance program in effect. Abrams also said administrative sanctions, following due process, will be brought to bear on those found to be responsible for poor workmanship. He said the investigations are ongoing. Meanwhile, the management of the JUTC is appealing to members of the public to report any infractions by staff or the public, to include but not limited to stone throwing incidents, bus fires, and or customer service issues. The public may call toll-free at 876-888-588-2287. That's 876-888-588-2287. WhatsApp at 876-570-1789, or use the social media platforms at JUTC Limited for Twitter and www.facebook.com/JUTC Limited. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.